Not from Los Angeles, California, or San Jose, Smokey Daze Haze. Thanks everybody. Basically, this is the fourth set, and we're gonna see how things go. I'm Smokey Daze Haze, the idiot savant of comedy, but most people just call me idiot, which is kind of annoying because it's like when I was in high school, people would call me my last name instead of my first name, so now they call me idiot instead of savant. So it's just like, all right, I guess that's how it's gonna go. But it's just like I was talking to my friend. I was explaining to him why I was thinking about doing like the stand-up. Because, he kind of knows me, and, he knows I'm funny and stuff, so I'm going through it, and I'm like, it's like whenever I'm serious, people just start laughing like hysterically and stuff, so it's like, you know what I mean, better to think you're funny than know, than know that you're a fool and stuff. So it's like, I'm explaining to him, like, when I was ordering something, I was ordering like these almonds, these nuts, and this guy's like, oh, what are you, a comedian? Are you a comedian? And he's like, he didn't say I should do stand-up. He's like, he actually thought I was a comedian. So it's just like, all right. So if this guy thinks I'm a comedian, then, maybe that's the thing. And then I'm going through and I'm talking about how all these people would laugh and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, like, how do they all know? Like, how are they all in on it? Like, how are they all, like, pretending like I'm funny and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going really serious. I'm explaining to him. I'm pouring my heart out. The guy starts laughing hysterical. I'm like, man, I wish I knew what part was funny so I could do it right now. So, you know what I mean? It's like, whenever I'm, like, serious, people always laugh at me. Because, like, growing up, they had, they removed asbestos from my schools. It was a risk of cancer, mesothelioma. I swear to God, it took me, like, an hour to say that. I kept saying, like, mesothelioma, I mean, I was trying for, like, an hour. It's brutal. So, mesothelioma, I finally got it, man. You don't even know. You don't even know how hard it was. So, like, now I see all these commercials for shingles. And it's like, growing up, we had shingles, and I'll even find some bits of like the green shingles, like in the yard, like this cute green shingles. So I start thinking, I'm thinking, am I at risk of catching it? So I tell my doctor, I talk to him, I tell him and stuff, and you know what? He starts laughing. He starts laughing at me, and it's like, should I get vaccinated? I mean, you know what I mean? Am I going to get shingles now? I know I had shingles as a kid. We grew up with shingles, and it wasn't until we removed them, we got rid of like the side, and we put that up. So it's like, I don't know, man. So the doctor laughs at me. So if anyone knows about the shingles thing, let me know. But, so it's like, in the 90s, like 90 to 94, maybe a little later, I was doing comic shows, comic sports shows and stuff. So it's like, I did about 151 to 200 of those. So like one of the shows at National Coliseum, like 94, I remember, I met Clark Gillies, and it's like comedy, you know what I mean? And it's like the Islanders were playing the Rangers. And like the Rangers, I think, were up 3 games to none, and they had a show in the National Coliseum at the same time as the thing. It was cool. I got to drive the pickup truck down to the Coliseum. So you know what I mean? So it's like I'm talking, so it's like so funny. So first when I go to meet Clark Gillies, I'm like really shy and really nervous. I was like too scared to talk to him. So you know what I mean? He's trying to talk to me and he's trying to be nice and everything and have a conversation. I knew like growing up, my friend like Michael Coleman down the block was a big Clark Gillies fan. So it's like I put the puck down. I'm like, could you just sign this? Could you just sign this? And it's like I felt like such an asshole and shit. So it's like, then I saw these other people that had the puck signed that had like number 9 and had like Clark Gillies and their name and stuff. So I go back and I'm like, I'm sorry, I was really shy, blah blah blah. Could you sign this? So then we start talking. We talk for like an hour. So I'm talking. I'm like, the only person playing out there is Makota and he's a goon. And it's like the funny thing is, it's like. He was like a bit of a tough guy himself, so you know what I mean? So I'm like that, I'm talking to him, and I mean, he's a big guy, he's a big man, Clark Gillies, if you ever met him. Real nice guy, great guy, class act. So anyways, so I'm like, they were down 3-0 once before, and they came back. I'm like, they came back down 3-0 before. And Clark Gillies, he looks at me, he's like, I know, I was on that team. Woo! I mean, talk about a bird. You know what I mean? It was against the Penguins, they came back, they ended up losing. But like, imagine that, like I'm talking to the guy and he was like actually on the team. It wasn't just like someone that, you know what I mean? So like, that's like the best burn I think I had in my life. But like, he's like, I know, I was on that team. And I'm always running my mouth about sports, but that shut me up pretty quick. I was like, and I started talking to him. It was pretty cool. So like, when I was a kid growing up, I couldn't say my S sounds. Like I had a lot of trouble. I'd say like sneakers, geekers. I couldn't say like my best friend, Mike McCormick. So there was this one tongue twister I could not say. I'm going to do it right now. I want you to listen. I want you to listen closely because I think I got it. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sucks sausages by the seesaw. Sally spreads syphilis by the seesaw. Sally sows syphilis by the seesaw. She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells. I mean, that's pretty good, right? Let me try that again. Sally sows syphilis on the seashore. The spores she sows are syphilis, yows. So if she sells syphilis on the seashore, then yows, concrete, she spreads syphilis is spores, you know? I think that's pretty good. Let me try again. Syphilis sucks sausages on the seesaw. The shills she sucks are shriveled, I'm sure, with sores. So if she sucks sausages on the seashore, when them spores spout, syphilis swallows spews. You know what I mean? When I was in school in English class, they used to call me 20 to 12, this asshole Mr. Barra. So everybody would like turn to look at me, and you know what I mean? Like, I remember first, I wrote this story, like the first snowfall was every junkie stream. They lined up for miles with straws. And you know what I mean? To snort the cocaine, like snow, cocaine. Then I had another thing where I did like a finger gun. Like I did like a finger gun at him, and he was just like, he's like, you know, I thought when he did that, like any moment, he could just end my life, he could just do this and that. He made like a real dramatic thing about that. So you know what I mean? He was just like an asshole. He was just really bored once. I remember I rolled up like a piece of paper and it was like a giant joint and I was like going to smoke it. I was like smoking it like a giant joint. So I mean at some point I did something really funny and I didn't plan to do something funny. It just kind of happened that I did something funny. So then every day in class, everyone would look at me at 20 and 12 and I'd have to do something funny. I'd have to think of something like every day. Like they would stop the class to look at me at 20 and 12 until I did something funny. So that was my English high school class in like 12th grade. That's a whole ordeal. I'll get to it another time. But like, remember Star Wars? Like Star Wars went from droid D3 to go, D0, done. You know what? Scripts are for pharmacists. Like everyone on YouTube's talking about scripts. You know what? You shouldn't have a script unless you have a prescription. Scripts are for pharmacists to write. But you know what I mean? Everyone has a script. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to hold a notebook and make it seem like I have a script so people think like I wrote a bunch of jokes and everything. So they think I'm funny and they don't think I'm just winging it. So this girl, Sweet and Sour Julie, like she gives me a hand job once and she got mad. She's like, I came all over her. Like I came all over her shirt. And she had like a black shirt on and stuff. And it's like, what did she want me to say? Like, get your head on it, get your mouth on it. It's like, you go and walk 10, what did you think was going to happen? What did you think was going to happen? You go and walk 10, obviously at some point something's going to come out, right? But I don't want that stuff to come out. So it's like, are you going to give me, I'm like, I figured that was all I was getting. I figured I was just getting a hand job. I mean, you had your mouth on it, you had your mouth off it, you had your mouth on, off, and it's just like, first of all, you took off your rings. So you were like Lord of the Rings. So the second you took off your rings, I knew I was dealing with a pro. And I'm a smart enough guy to know to shut my mouth because I know every time a guy's going to get laid, going to have sex, get a blowjob anyway, he starts talking like a fucking idiot and then he blows it. Literally blows it. So it's like you took the rings off. Obviously, I knew you were the professional. You knew what you were doing. So when you go and walk 10, I figured you knew it was going to shoot. You know, you knew something. You knew it was going to rip. So you know what I mean? That made me think of this thing. And it's like, it made me, you know, I started thinking, I'm like, you know what? I have an educational song for you. You know, this goes to Sweet and Sour, goes to Julie, goes to everyone that gives a blowjob, gives to everyone that sucks dick. I want you to think about this song. I want you to sing this song. I want you to learn this song. I want you to live it. I want you to love it. I want you to know it. And you know what? I'll be back another time. But until that time, I hope you enjoy this because this song is serious. This is like some educational shit right there. So I hope you listen. All right? I'm going to try really hard to sing. I'm not the best singer, but if you're going to suck dick, when the spew comes out, spit it out. Spit it out. If you're going to suck dick, when the spew spouts out, spit it out. Spit it out. If you're going to suck dick, when the spew spouts out, spit it out. Spit it out. If you're going to suck dick, when the cum comes out, spit it out. Spit it out. If you're going to suck dick, when the spew spouts out, spit it out. Spit it out. If you're going to suck dick, when the spew spouts out, spit it out. Spit it out.